Bueno, ministra, primero que todo, entonces, ¿qué sigue legalmente? ¿Las vacunas dejan de ser obligatorias a partir de cuándo?
Desde este momento es completamente, no son obligatorias porque se sesionó y se dio el criterio de obligatoriedad de un
Entonces,
decreto.
hoy ya las vacunas no son obligatorias y por lo tanto cualquier acción contra alguien que no se quiera vacunar es una violación de la ley.
Así es.
¿Correcto? Bueno. Muchas gracias.
But I can tell you that 2 days ago, I flew out my first 10-year-old with a heart attack, and I had to fight the doctor in the ER because he's like, 10-year-olds don't have heart attacks. And I argued back and forth for 30 minutes to force his hand to get an EKG, to find out that he had almost a complete STEMI, which is ST elevated myocardial infarction, for which you could see it lit up on the 12-lead EKG. And he's like, well, that's not possible. And I'm like, well, he was just vaccinated yesterday. It is very much possible. At any given time, people are getting a hold of me and the nurse advocates at American Frontline Nurses to help advocate because, as you've seen, there is victim shaming. That it's anxiety. Oh, it's this. But in actuality, if they put down that it was a vaccine injury, the physician, the corporation, the hospital, the clinic, they actually won't get reimbursed. So it gets labeled as anxiety or neuropathy or Guillain-Barré syndrome, when in actuality, it's very realistically a vaccine injury. Whereas
Africa's first COVID-19 vaccine manufacturing plant risks shutting down after receiving not a single order, said an Aspen executive a few days ago. South Africa's pharmaceutical company negotiated a licensing deal in November to be able to package and sell Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine throughout the continent. This announcement is bad news for Africa, which, according to data shared by the WHO in March, has vaccinated just 15% of its adult population. It also seriously threatens the African Union's goal to locally produce 60% of all its vaccines by 2040. The director of the African Centre for Disease Control and Prevention told the Financial Times that if this plant closed down, it would send a very poor signal to other companies on the continent willing to manufacture vaccines. The Regional Health Agency also recently reminded less than 1% of vaccines administered in Africa were made locally, exposing countries to more risks during health crises.
because we're going to be waking up. The vast majority of people that have taken the shots are going to be going through a red pill moment, not taking years, not taking even months or weeks. They'll be trying to absorb all this information in an extremely short period of time, and many of them will go ballistic. So I expect I expect frequent, irregular, episodic instances of chaos, but it'll be sort of an organized chaos in the sense that the people that go crazy won't be lashing out. Most of them won't be lashing out at the society at large. They'll be going crazy and lashing out at their abusers, very specific individuals. So it wouldn't surprise me, for instance, to see many of the people that we now title the elite be picked off one by one by one and basically removed from this planet by the actions of people that they have harmed over these last 2 years that would be unpredictable and not unstoppable. You need to stand back, okay? People need to understand that there will be a section of the social order that is going to go crazy in anger, grief, all of this, and there will be reactions, and it's best to not get yourself in the way of those reactions, especially if you're not like a law enforcement personnel kind of fellow that's trained in it, right? Because these will be very violent reactions to having been poisoned, and some of them I expect will be spectacularly so in terms of the violence of it. So it's not going to be wise to hang out around these elite guys.